Packers have gotten off to big leads in both of their wins against the Lions and the Commanders, two pretty good teams. When you look at this game, Browns versus Packers at home, what are some of the keys for the Browns to pull off the upset?
Well, it starts on the defensive side of the ball because they have a tough task on their hands. Green Bay's been kind of a machine so far, and they don't have that one thing that you go into the game saying, okay, well, if we just stop this one thing, it's because I know they drafted Matthew Golden to eventually be their one. He's not their wide receiver one as we start today. If I look at their wide receiver corps, I'm actually looking at Tucker Kraft kind of being the focal point. But they have a bunch of talented pass catchers, and they spread the ball around. So there's a lot of variance there. So this is going to be, you have to get pressure on Jordan Love and force him to throw it early, and you guys have to be in position. This is a team. If I'm looking at the first 2 weeks of the season, I'm looking at this defense, and my hat's off. I know there's been tipping points in games where they just can't keep doing the impossible, but they need to start generating turnovers. And that's unfair to them, but it's the reality of the situation. To get this offense sparked, they're going to have to give them some short fields, and they're going to have to come away with some big turnovers, especially if you plan on beating a team like Green Bay. Even though you have this game at your house, there's going to be a lot of juice, or especially early in the game. You got to keep the fans in it, and the only way you're going to be able to do that is to put the brakes on the offense of Green Bay, which is a tough task. Josh Jacobs is a solid running back. Jordan Love's coming to his own. He's got a bunch of talented pass catchers. So you have to cause a spark there and give your offense some short fields and create some easy situations so they can build confidence, and then they can start rolling, and then you'll have a shot. But even then, it's a tough task. Green Bay they're rolling so far in this early season.
Yeah, the thing that I would expect them to do is try to get after Jordan Love. He's an ascending guy, but he's not quite Lamar Jackson or Joe Burrow just yet. So try to speed him up. In the past, he's been able to be sped up. I don't know if he's kind of grown out of that. We're going to have to see. Offensively, if you're Kevin Stefanski, Tommy Rees, what are you doing? Because this defense, especially the line, has pressured opposing offenses pretty good. Now, they have gotten up. And when you're up, it's like, all right, let's get after the passer.
Yeah, it starts with taking the air out of the football and leaning on Quinshon Judkins. And that's unfair. It's only his second game. We're talking about a guy who has that many practice reps. But if you look at what he's been able to do with yards after contact, he's able to generate and give you some juice between the tackles. And that's where you're going to have to take the air out of the ball if you're going to beat Green Bay. You're going to have to sustain long drives, and you're going to need to run the football and impose your physicality. And the Browns have not been able to do that in the first two games. So that needs to be the emphasis, And then things can start to open up, because while we don't need an incredible running game to run play action, if you're going to get off on some of these boot plays, you need to have an effective running game to really pull the defenders in and create big plays. So that's the first emphasis for me, And then Tommy Rees talked about earlier, getting Flacco into a rhythm. And we saw it in Cincinnati, and it was you were able to, matriculate the ball down the field, 22 first downs, and the things that you want to see from a winning team. They were not able to do any of that in week two. There was basically Baltimore didn't have to respect the running game, so they sat on all those short routes, and then they just killed the Browns offense, put it out. So you can't let that happen. So be effective in your running game and get Flacco into a rhythm. And then you might start to see more shots intermediate and eventually deep. I don't know if they can really force it against a team like Green Bay, who has a ferocious pass rush. So, it's about keeping Joe standing and getting him in a rhythm.